Hi everyone, welcome back to Comic Book Corner, and this is your host, Spider Slayer. That's right, that's me, guys. Getting ready to do another episode of Comic Book Review, Amazing Spider-Man 679.1. That's right, guys, 679.1. It looks like it's a jumping on issue for old Amazing Spider-Man to get you caught up with what has happened basically in the last couple months or so, and pretty much a lot's gone on. If you missed Spider Island Saga, there was a lot of crap that happened in here. But this particular story basically has a nice little side story to who was in Think Tank number 6. And if you've been reading up on the whole Amazing Spider-Man title, we've got to realize that Peter Parker works for Horizon Labs, and he basically gets paid to come up with inventions and ideas, and he can come and go as he pleases, and he goes in this think tank, and that's how he does his work. So he can come and go as he please, and he can come and go as Spider-Man as well, and he can hide his costume there and everything else. So it's kind of like a dream job to him, because since Spider-Man was always so smart, or Peter Parker was always so smart, he can use his his scientific abilities for good use. And you can see in the past few issues he's come up with things to help his spider suits and other aspects of technology, and he's used it in the real world. And he basically covers everything up by helping Spider-Man. He says he helps Spider-Man using his tech. So, and that's how he kind of gets by on things. But this issue pretty much follows up on one of the geniuses. His name is, I think, Yatu Jackson. And it's nice because it gives you a description of everyone here that's in the in all the geniuses. And then you have, of course, Max Modell, who's the boss of them all. And then you get to meet Grady Scraps and Bella Fishback and this person and this person, and of course you meet Peter Parker. And then the mystery was whoever is in lab number 6. Well, if you read the last issue of the Spider Island Saga, you get a brief glimpse of who that person actually was. And yes, it was Morbius. And I was wondering when he was going to come back into play in the whole thing, and yet you get to see that in this issue, which was very nice. Dan Slott is obviously the current writer on this book. He actually did take a break and had Chris Yost write this particular issue, who also writes Scarlet Spider, which, by the way, is a great series if you guys are looking to pick up another Spider title. Matthew Clark, who is doing the pencils right now for Roberto Ramos. So we got a few different people doing this particular issue because it is a jumping on point. Nevertheless, it's still nicely drawn. It's well written. You can see here that this character here is Yatu Jackson, if that's his name, if how you pronounce it. And he basically relives everything, kind of what happened in New York, and how everyone was affected with powers, and how Mr. Fantastic cured everybody with using Parker's serum, stuff like that. So but the cool thing is we get to see how the Think Labs are, and you can see here that this is the way they are. So when Peter comes in, he sneaks through, comes from outside and sneaks on in through, and you can see here he goes into there, he goes into this building, and it goes down into his actual secret hideout. So in this particular issue here, he's getting changed in his lab. His lab is number 7, and you can see that he is getting changed right here. So we can see that, and then his buddy comes knocking on the door, starts asking questions, and of course he gives him the runaround. And but the whole time is that they're all wondering who's in Lab 6, who's in Lab 6, and you're trying to find out who's in Lab 6. And finally, um, what's going on is that Peter gets a strange spider sense, and he can sense him right through the door here. He's like literally looking back and forth. They're like looking at each other. And basically, Morbius is in this lab because he's trying to create a plasma to cure himself and to help people with blood transfusions that they will not need blood transfusions anymore. So they're still trying to figure out who's in Lab 6, and Yatu and Peter come up with this whole villain bad guy thing of who could it possibly be, and you have all these people like Doctor Doom and MODOK, and it says Michael Morbius vampire. There's no photo available, but he is right there. And you got the Wizard, you got the Beast, and you got all these real smart guys, but nothing's really come across it. And as the issue goes along, what's his name? Max Modell and Morbius are talking, and they think he's actually come up with a serum that can stop his hunger for blood and to possibly cure a lot of people that obviously like need the blood transfusions and things like that. So as he takes the blood, okay, it doesn't really work. All of a sudden he experiences more hunger, and there's a whole bunch of crap that hits the fan, and all of a sudden Spider-Man hears all this, and he's like, oh, I gotta get, something's going on, and something's not right, and so he sneaks on through the ventilation shafts, and all of a sudden you can see he breaks through, and all of a sudden Spider-Man's like, Morbius, I can't believe it, and the whole time Modell is just sitting there going, Spider-Man, it's not what you think, but he's out of control, and he's got to get this blood through his system, and you can see that he's looking to get some blood because he's just looking to feast. So as we go on, our little buddy here seems to say that this is the best day of his life because he's created a suit for every type of like apocalypse that's ever happened. So he's created werewolves and ghouls and zombies, and then here he goes to lab number 5 and faces this vampire suit that he gets on. So all of a sudden, as we see him, as Morbius is starting to win the battle, and he's just about to go eat Spider-Man's blood, all of a sudden, here he comes. Boom! He's got his gear on, he's got his eye on, he's got a gun, he's got flame torched Morbius. I mean, the guy's like on fire. So it's all crazy, and there's this big battle going on. Finally, this crazy blood that he drank finally goes through his system, and the secret is out. Modell reveals to everybody that he's been working in Think Tank number 6, and that he's going to continue, and things will not change. And so everyone's like, oh my God, is he dangerous? Has he lost his mind? And Modell talks to Spider-Man, and he says, so Peter gave you the clearance to come in. Well, I'm going to have to talk to Peter Parker about this one. And he goes, the top priority on my list is that it's going to be about security from now on. And if Spider-Man, if you want to check in, you're going to have to check in through the front desk just like anybody else. So that makes it a lot harder on Peter now to come in and out as he pleases. So as we see towards the end of the issue, he takes Morbius goes, and he takes his blood work, and he goes throughout the sewers, and he just goes, how are you, old friend? And this is the absolute spoiler on this, so if you don't want to see this absolute last page as a spoiler, you can just turn off the video now or fast forward through this page. But he's going to help his old friend, another fellow doctor, Dr. Connors, and that's the Lizard. And that's the end of the story for now. So basically, this issue, and it's a great cover, by the way. But basically, this issue was a great issue, especially for a jumping on point. Sometimes they just kind of, give you a brief story, obviously, of who the character is and what's going on and this and that. But this kind of had a nice little side story. It's like a filler, a good filler issue, even though it's a point one. So it gives you a quick idea of what went on a little bit, gives you who was in think tank number 6, and then it comes to a nice conclusion of where Morpheus went and what he's going to do. So for this particular issue, I gave it a 4 out of 5. I thought overall it was a decent read, decent drawings, fun pickup to read. So that is it for Amazing Spider-Man, issue 679.1. The next one, he's going to be lost in space. So that'll be interesting to see. It looks like he's going to have to do something with Horizon Labs, and somehow Spider-Man's got to show up there. And he's wearing this space outfit. But that's at least what the cover is. So it'll be interesting seeing what that's like. And, guess what, guys? I mean, we're only 20 issues away from issue number 700, and we'll definitely get there by this year. Especially that it comes out twice a month. So we'll definitely get there. So, but that's it. And I hope you like this review of Amazing Spider-Man 679.1. So this is Spider Slayer signing off. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you soon. Take care, everyone. Bye.